In the Bible, we have a classic case of infighting between two brothers. In fact, there's a lot of them, but this one in particular, the older brother's going to lose, and he's going to slink away and go and hide in some mountainous area, and we're never going to hear from him again. And the younger brother's going to inherit the land and the money and all the cattle and all the power, and he was going to rise to become a massive nation of himself. In fact, his descendants are still alive today. And the older brother kind of disappears, we think, until you dig more deeply into the Bible. Oh, there's a lot more information on this older, hairy twin brother named Esau than most people realize. Well, hey, I'm Dr. Rob. Welcome to Biblical Genetics. I am coming to you from the New Jersey shore. I'm actually right on the boardwalk. The ocean is literally, I can see it, it's right there. I'm standing in front of an old lighthouse in Wildwood, New Jersey. Cape May is down in the south. I was going to go down there, but it's just too hard to get to this morning because I have an 8 o'clock breakfast appointment this morning, and then I have a 10 o'clock. I have to preach on the boardwalk, interestingly, and 11 o'clock I got to do it again, and after that I got to get in the car, drive to Philadelphia, and fly home. It's going to be a really busy morning, but I had a little bit of time. I got up early. I said I'm going to come down to this beautiful place because this is really lovely, and I'm going to share with you some issues that everybody has on genealogy in the Bible. And the reason we're doing this series on genealogy is so that we can understand the Bible, so we can trust it more, and so that when some skeptic who thinks he might know something about the Bible throws a genealogical argument at us, well, we have an answer. And so today we're going to be talking about a very problematic section of the Bible because it's just confusing. In fact, we don't even know why it's there. This is the genealogy of Esau. Not of Jacob, who gives rise to the 12 tribes of Israel, but of his hairy older brother Esau, who's going to form a nation that's south of Israel and is going to cause lots of problems. His genealogical details are found verbatim in two completely different places, Genesis 36 and 1 Chronicles 1. And you're reading these passages and you're like, what are all these names? How do they connect? Who is Seir the Horite? This guy's not even in the lineage of anybody, and yet here's his genealogy, a bunch of sons and grandsons. And then you got these kings of Edom. Who's Edom? And what are these kings doing there? And how come it's not father-son relationships? It's just disconnected names. And then you get chiefs of Edom, and why are there chiefs? Why did the chiefs come after the kings? And well, there's an explanation for all that, a good explanation. It all makes sense. So just follow me here on this, I believe it's my 100th episode of Biblical Genetics. Wow, I can't believe I've been doing this long. Thank you so much for being with me on this journey. Thank you for all those people who have been supporting me all this time. If you'd like to help support Biblical Genetics, there'll be some links in the show notes. I have two main ways to do that. I have some friends on patreon.com who are supporting me monthly, and I have some friends on buymeacoffee.com who do one-off little tips of $3, $6, $9, $12. And all of you people are wonderful. I appreciate it so much. But let's get back to our story. We're going through a series of lectures and lessons on genealogy in the Bible. You know, all those names that people skip over. Well, this is going to be a classic area that everybody skips over. In fact, I've skipped over it a lot of times. I almost read the Bible every year. At least I go through the Bible. I don't read it every single day, but I start from scratch at the beginning of every year. And I've been going through it for like 10 or 15 years now. But this is something I've only recently understood. You get to Genesis chapter 36, and there's this guy. His name is Seir the Horite, and it lists a bunch of his sons and one daughter and a bunch of grandsons, but he doesn't tie in anywhere. He's not in the lineage of Jesus. He's not a Levite. He's not a son of Judah. He's not anybody. So why is this person even in there? Well, the answer is, I don't know, but the biblical authors were careful to record his genealogy. It's kind of weird because Horite isn't really a name. It means a cave dweller. Yeah, he lived on Mount Hor, which is south of Judah, southwest of the Dead Sea. So just south of the Dead Sea in the Rift Valley is what we call the Arabah. On the east side is the famous city of Petra. On the west side is Mount Seir, which is a line of hills, and one particular one, Mount Hor. So Seir the Horite lived in a cave, apparently, on Mount Seir. And Esau is going to pull up stakes, and he's going to move to the south and live amongst those people. In fact, Genesis 36 verses 6 through 8 says, Then Esau took his wives, his sons, his daughters, and all the members of his household, his livestock and all his beasts, and all his property that he had acquired in the land of Canaan. He went into a land far away from his brother Jacob, for their possessions were too great for them to dwell together. The land of their sojournings could not support them because of their livestock, so Esau settled in the hill country of Seir. Esau is Edom. Oh, okay, so we're going to have the rise of the country of Edom over time, but first he's living amongst Seir. Now, interestingly, he marries a daughter of Seir, but the relationships between the two don't last very long, because in Deuteronomy 2:12, it tells us that Edom destroyed Seir. Oh, whoops. Even though they intermarry. In fact, there's two different intermarrying places we recorded. We got this guy named Seir, and he's got a bunch of sons. One of them is named Lotan, and then we have Shobal, then Zibeon the Hivite. The Hivites, by the way, are descendants of Canaan. They're, by definition, Canaanites. So one of Seir, the Horite's sons, is Zibeon the Hivite. Does that make Seir a Hivite also? I suspect so, and in fact, I suspect that Seir has two different names. We'll get to that in a second. But we have, again, Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishan, Ezer, and Dishan. Those are the sons, and then we have a bunch of grandsons listed. But then there's one place where it's a little tricky, because we have two people named Dishan and Holabama. Holabama is going to marry Esau, and they are the son and daughter of Anah. But there's two Anahs. One Anah is Zibeon the Hivite's son, Anah, and another Anah is Seir the Horite's son, Anah. Oh man. This is ugly, man. How do you figure this out? Well, because all of Seir's other sons and grandsons are listed, I don't think that Dishan and Holabama are the great-grandchildren of Seir. They're probably just the grandchildren. We can slide those two people into a certain place to make the tree balanced. So we have a bunch of sons and one daughter of Seir and a bunch of grandchildren. But what that does, if that's true, that changes a couple things later on. That makes Seir the Horite have two different names. In fact, he is actually a Hivite also. Another reason to slide Dishan and Holabama up a generation is because Esau is going to marry a Holabama, but Esau's son is going to marry a daughter of Seir. So the generations are reversed here. Esau marries a grandchild of Seir, but Esau's son marries, or concubines, with a daughter of Seir. That's one more reason to slide them up, because that means that Esau is not marrying a great-granddaughter of Seir. It makes the generational spans easier to get to. So Seir is just sitting there in the Bible, just hanging out, just chilling. Him, his children, grandchildren, two different places. You got to read through it. But then right after that, in those same two passages in Genesis 36 and 1 Chronicles 1, we're given a list of the kings of Edom. And it says these are the kings before any king reigned in Judah. Now this is really interesting because the kings aren't father-to-son relationships. So in the kingdom of Judah, after Rehoboam, all of the sons for multiple generations, almost 10 generations, I don't remember exactly how many, but a bunch of generations, are father to son to son to son to son. That's following the laws of primogeniture. The oldest son becomes the next king. But in the kingdom of Israel, north of Judah, after in Rehoboam's time when they had that civil war and the kingdom splits in the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah, the Israelite kings are not father to son. A couple of them are, but most of them aren't. Usually there's a bloody war when one king dies and another king gets himself established. They have very different rules of kingship in the nation of Israel versus the nation of Judah. But Esau seems to be following a pattern similar to the nation of Israel. But this is before there's any king in Judah or Israel. We're given Bela of Dinhabah, whose father is Beor, Jobab, the father of Zerah. We have Husham the Temanite. We have Hadad of Avith, who's the son of Bedad. Then we have Samlah of Mazrakah. We have Shaul of Rehoboth. We have Balhanan, the son of Akbor. And we have Pau, or Hadad of Pau, who married Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred, the son of, I said that, the son of Mesahab. We talked about those in the last episode. The two places in this genealogy where it says daughter of, but it's really a son they're talking about. Go back and look at the last episode if you want a better explanation of that. But here we have a bunch of disconnected people. And we know where some of these cities are. We know that these names seem to tie into other Edomite names. So there's very Edomite flavor to this, but they're just disconnected names. from one place or another place or another place. And these are the kings of Edom before there are kings in Judah. Now, interestingly, there are two places where the genealogy of Esau ties in, because one of Esau's sons was named Reuel, and Reuel had a son named Zerah. But in the king list of Esau, we have Jobab, the son of Zerah of Bozrah. So it looks like Esau, Reuel, Zerah, Jobab. It's not stated explicitly, but it looks like that. The other place, the king Hushan the Temanite, in the king list of Esau, but Esau's genealogy goes Esau, Eliphaz, Teman. So all of a sudden we have a Temanite and we have an Eliphaz, or Hushan the Temanite. Now, interestingly, in the book of Job, we have an Eliphaz the Temanite. Oh, that's strange. Well, there'll be much more. We're going to do a whole section on Job in a later episode. But here we have two things already in the Bible. We have the sons of Seir, then we have the kings of Edom. They're not related, except in a couple little places maybe, but they're just discontinuous lists. And then after that, we're given the chiefs of Esau. Why are we listing chiefs of Esau now? In fact, two of them are girls. We have Timnah, a female, Alva, and then Jether, and Holabama, another female. Then Elah, Penon, Kenaz, Teman, Mizpah, Magdiel, and Imran. I know it's just a bunch of names, but interestingly, Teman and Kenaz and Holabama and Timnah, those are all names we find in Esau's genealogy. So the sons of Seir, the Horite, cave dweller, the kings of Edom, and then the chiefs of Edom. Why do we have chiefs all of a sudden? Well, probably the first king list is specifically stated before there's any king in Israel. Why do we have chiefs instead of kings? Because we have kings in Israel. And after some massive wars between Israel and Edom, well, the Edomites lost. And then the Israelite kings are probably suppressing, or the Judahite kings after Israel's destroyed, probably suppressing the kingdom of Edom, so they don't have kings, they only have chiefs. In fact, a huge portion of the wealth of Solomon and David came from Edom. There are massive copper mines in this region. In fact, there's massive places where they're smelting copper. And copper in the Bronze Age is incredibly important because you have to have copper to have bronze. And I think probably a huge portion of what made Israel so wealthy, the reason why David could build that palace and Solomon could build the temple, was because of these copper mines in Edom. Hence, there are no kings in Edom, because then the kings would have controlled the copper mines. Well, there you go. That's a very simple explanation of a very problematic passage. I know there's lots of names, and I know we just skim through it, and we don't have usually no understanding of what this even means. I had to sit down and take a pencil and write these names out and draw lots of connecting lines and think and think and think and said, oh, well, that's the explanation. Sons of Seir, kings of Edom, chiefs of Edom, and how it ties into the nation of Israel. Okay, now one more thing. I have to explain why Seir probably has two names. We have Seir the Horite, who has a son named Anah, who has a daughter named Aholabama. And Aholabama is going to marry Esau. But if that's true, then we kind of mess up the names, because in the other place where we have Esau's wives listed, Aholabama is the daughter of Anah, the son of Zibeon the Hivite, not Seir the Horite. So I think that Zibeon and Seir are the same person, meaning that we have more tie-ins to these genealogies, more ways to figure it out. And one of the reasons why Seir is there is because he's Esau's father-in-law. So Seir the Horite and Zibeon the Hivite are probably the same person, especially because Seir the Horite has a son named Zibeon the Hivite. So Seir is also probably a Hivite. That's just an explanation of how all these things tie together. Look, I get really excited when I start talking about genealogy, and I get lost in the details. And I love just digging into these names and making connection lines. But all I'm trying to do here is explain to you how it works so that you can dig in also, and when you can read the Bible with understanding. This is almost a non-issue. It's almost something that's not important. The reason it's important is because it's in the Bible in two different places. And so when we read it, we have to read with comprehension. And as we get a grasp on these genealogies, we're going to have a better understanding of the integrity of the Bible itself. That's why we're doing this, so we can have a trust in the scriptures, an understanding of the scriptures. And then when someone says, oh, the Bible can't be true because of X, if they bring up a genealogical argument, well, we're going to have an argument in return, and our faith isn't going to be shaken by a skeptic who knows a little bit about the subject. That's why we're learning about this. That's why we're here in Biblical Genetics. Thanks for listening. I've got to go.